You have any nutrition myths you want to debunk?
I'm not here to piss anyone off. I've had a Mars bar today, and that's going to be like an hour on the drink. She was like, "Don't get cancelled."
Can you talk a bit about your current routine?
Foundation is calories in versus calories out. It's how much your body needs. We've also got the thermic effect of food. It's about 5%.
That's crazy.
5%, yeah.
5%. I mean, that was, I thought it'd be more. You know exactly what you're doing. You've got a purpose.
Yeah.
Strive is the way.
I'm like, can we potentially have our money back? Said no.
In the moment, these things, they're terrible and it's like the end of the world. But actually, sometimes it's like, okay, is the universe telling me something? Maybe this isn't the route.
I'm going to Canada. Do you want to come with me?
Why don't we not go to where it's snowy and cold?
Yeah,
Let's go somewhere warm.
Who's your ideal client?
If you can get him on here.
Hello and welcome back to Rocket Pod. Today we're joined by Kieran Edwards, founder and head coach of Strive Functional Fitness. Kieran's programs are extremely accessible for anyone looking to get into shape and just be happy with what they see in the mirror. We've got a very special Rocket Pod and Strive discount code exclusive only to you Rocket Pod fans. So keep a lookout in the description. Kieran's warm, friendly approach makes starting your fitness journey less daunting. And James and I definitely enjoyed our lively conversation with him. So without further ado,
Welcome, Kieran.
Thank you.
Welcome to Rocket Pod.
Thank you for having me.
So how was your journey into
Long.
Shoreditch?
Yeah, so the train, there wasn't any trains into London Bridge that I could find that weren't cancelled, so I had to go to Victoria. I was saying to Xander before we started, and then took a, what is it, a loon? No,
Which one?
the green one. A lime. A lime,
bike.
yeah. Took a lime over.
Okay.
Nice,
Lime
along
bike.
the Thames from Victoria to here.
When did you start this morning?
What, my journey?
Yeah, no, to the day.
About 6.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so I left at 10, had a bit of breakfast, and then shot on over here.
Fantastic.
Usually
yeah.
wake up at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I like an early rise, to be fair. Yeah.
Are you
Get some stuff.
naturally a morning person?
Now
or-
I'm naturally a morning person. Yeah. Before,
Mhm.
no. Well, I mean, to be fair, in lockdown,
Mm.
like going back, what was that, like 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
Like when I didn't actually have to get up for anything because I was furloughed. I'd go to bed at 10 and wake up at 8. I'd naturally just get like 10 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, 8 was probably around my natural wake up, but now it's dropped. Getting old now.
Yeah.
Just
me
getting
too,
earlier.
25.
You're 21.
Whopping 21.
Yeah, and actually, so Kieran and I met. So Kieran, well, I'm in the gym early. I've just joined a gym, first one ever in 40 odd years, and Kieran was, I guess, a PT and very friendly, good friendly advice, and doing workouts at silly o'clock. So who's Kieran? So tell us about you. Where'd you come from? Where'd you grow up?
So from Haywards Heath originally, which is just up from Brighton. No one will know where Haywards Heath is. So just sort of over the downs, like 15 minutes from Brighton. Grew up there, went to school there, always stayed around there. And then when I was maybe 19, I left and moved to Bournemouth for a year. And then that was my first PT job. And then stayed there for a year, moved back into the Haywards Heath area, over to Horsham for a bit. And then went on a bit of a travel, and then now I'm back in Haywards Heath.
Okay.
For now.
Yeah.
Which school did you go to?
Oak Hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went to Warden Park. We were rivals. We were rivals, weren't we?
We were rivals. Yeah. My mum used to tell me.
I'm local too.
Right,
in the Sussex Weald. There you go. That's a connection. I didn't realise you grew up in Haywards Heath.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm back there now. That's mad that you went to Warden Park.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I never knew that.
I always knew Oak Hall was over there somewhere, but I never actually made the
I don't think
the 2 mile trip.
I don't think there was such a rivalry. I mean, with sports there was.
Yeah.
Like Warden Park would always batter us at everything.
Mm.
But there was.
That's good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah, they're still doing it.
What are you up to now?
Okay, so I am now still personal training a little bit. Now I'm back in England, but I've started online coaching and growing the business that's going to be just a health and fitness and wellness business eventually. But for now, it's just utilize the skills that I've got, online coaching, so I can do it from anywhere, which I will get into. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just help individuals who don't know much about health and fitness and what steps to take. I help them over a 3-month period be self-sufficient with looking after themselves
Great.
and getting habits in place.
Awesome. So, and what's that called?
That's Strive.
Strive. There we go.
It's Strive coaching. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very modest. Yeah, so Kieran's the founder of
The
Strive.
founder of Strive. Yeah.
And actually, it's interesting. So where we met, so Kieran, Kieran was the PT manager at South Lodge, which is quite a premium spa/gym and 5-star hotel.
Best bar in the country this year.
Best bar in the country this year. So I think what fascinates me is that you were exposed during your time there. How long were you there for?
I was in the gym for about two or 3 years.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So you met lots of different people. I know some celebrities, successful people, all from different walks of life. But I guess probably the more affluent type of person in the southeast. What did you learn from just being around these people? And what was the kind of the aha moment? Because you had a regular job. Well, it's a great job. But and then obviously you're transitioning now from the PAYE environment to an entrepreneur or solopreneur, however you'd like to describe yourself.
What I was shocked at was that there was a lot of hardworking people, and I know that sounds silly, but at other places like that I've been to, it's a lot of wealthy husbands, and then the wives are enjoying themselves there at the weekend. But what I found at South Lodge was no matter what industry everyone was in, they seemed to be really hardworking people that just wanted to go to this little oasis, look after their health, chill out, and just unwind for a couple of hours of the day. So it was nice to mingle with them and find the similarities between them. But it was the first time that I had spoken to people in that demographic and realized, you're just normal. You're normal people that have just worked hard at something.
Okay.
And then that sort of opened my eyes to being like, what, I can do that too. And you get good friendships and relationships with these people as you work closely with them. A lot of people that come into the gym are nervous, and it's an uncomfortable environment. So it was they were very open, and it was nice for me to be their comfort blanket. Not all of them, of course, but some of them, and then train them and welcome them into that space, and then from that, getting to know them, training them, and knowing them as people.
So it was relating to people who has a very different lifestyle to you, but on a personal level, they were just like you.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, if these people can get this far and they can make something of themselves, that it's then achievable for anyone. Like there's nothing special. It's not a different person. It's just someone that's picked something and then worked towards it.
Sounds like you had a good kind of a good value exchange, or did you? As far as obviously you're helping, guiding them with their fitness and their health, but you're getting back obviously your observations that you just described, but also was there any it's almost like, did they mentor you in any way at the same time? I mean, you obviously, there's a kind of give and take in those relationships. And
yeah, definitely. So it was the first time. It was one of my old clients, Jamie. He's gone into like property development now, and he's got a business doing swimming pools and things like that. He's an awesome guy, and he introduced me to the idea of angel investors, and that was a term I hadn't even considered. And I remember being in the gym and going, I know one day I want my own gym, I want my own space, but I'm earning like low 20,000 a year.
Yeah.
How on earth am I ever going to be able to make more money doing this? And I kind of felt stuck, but that was the first time, like just a little nugget of knowledge. I was like, okay, right. So even if I don't grow my own business, because it wasn't a thought then at that point to go down this route, like there are people out there that are interested in helping young entrepreneurs build and grow their businesses. So yeah, it was just little nuggets like that.
So was there an aha moment, or was it just a gradual realization, or was it awareness? Did you just become aware that actually these clients or these other members at the gym were just like you? Or was there a moment that you thought, what, now's the time?
So there wasn't a specific moment. It was just being around it, and slowly over time, when you're surrounding yourself with these people, you start to think like these people and see what happens, and see the things that they're doing and what they're talking about, and then that just naturally just slowly filtered down in. And I said, I can do this. And then when I went to do it, was nothing to do with a business at all when I left South Lodge. It had nothing to do with business.
Just a change. You just wanted a change. Okay.
I'd just broken up with my girlfriend at the time, and then I was single. I was working at South Lodge still, fitness manager, and then my friend at the time was like, I'm going to Canada. Do you want to come with me? And then me and her, we were in the process of deciding to move to Canada. That turned into a relationship, which is great naturally, as you can imagine. You plan to move to the other side of the world together.
Fantastic.
That then blossomed. We're still together, and we never ended up going to Canada, but that was the catalyst to leave South Lodge and then pursue my own thing.
So what happened from there?
So we spent like maybe 1 or 2 months in England. I can't remember. Just getting ready to go. I was still PTing outside just to make up a little bit more money, and then the plan was go to Canada, get a job, do a ski season, and then work on our own businesses. And we got to the airport, and then there was a very small hiccup with the visa. So that one of them there's a thing called an ETA, which is I believe it links your passport to your visa. And because we were there for 2 years, we both needed to renew our visa, our passports, and they said, oh yeah, it'll be fine. Like, it just links to the new passport. It didn't.
So check your passports, people.
Yeah. If you're going to Canada, check your passports. Make sure your ETA is attached to your visa. You don't want to get to Heathrow and then be turned away. I'd actually asked the guy as well at the check-in. I'd walked in and I was like, oh, is there any chance for us to get upgraded? and he was like, 1 sec, and then walked away. And I was like, yes, we're in. And then he came back and was like, yeah, no, absolutely you're not boarding.
Oh dear.
I know. So
it's a bit of a it's a weed.
But
but at the time it was probably like,
I know it was annoying. I managed to stay kind of cool about it. Jenny was a bit upset. But then during the 3 weeks that we had to wait for that visa to come through, I was like, why don't we have a plan B? Let's go to Bali.
Why don't we not go to where it's snowy and cold?
Let's go somewhere warm.
Let's go where the sun is.
We'll trade the snowboarding for the surfing, coconuts on the beach. Because I'd have rather have gone to Bali anyway. Wherever she said she would have gone, I'd have gone. I'd have gone anywhere.
Oh, how romantic.
I know.
Yeah. Bali is nice.
Bali's
my sister's
so
there
good.
right now. Actually,
oh, really?
Is she? A yoga training course. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Whereabouts in Ubud?
I have no idea, honestly. I don't know, but yeah, it looks nice.
That's the hippie in the jungle bit. So I'd assume that.
Yeah. So how long after? Was it 3 weeks after?
Or? We literally got on the phone to the airline. I'm like, can we potentially have our money back? And they very politely, as the Canadians would, said no. But
sorry.
She made me feel so like fine about it. It's this lovely Canadian woman at the other end of the phone. I couldn't argue with her. I was like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah. Keep it.
Keep my money.
Keep our hard-earned cash.
Hope you get some of it. And then just rebooked some tickets to Bali. We were on a dog walk, walking my mum's dogs, and Jenny goes, I think I want Plan B more.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
And it just goes to show when we have setbacks, these things have a tendency to, they happen for a reason. It's just another signpost. Because quite often, in the moment, these things, they're terrible and it's like the end of the world. But actually, sometimes it's like, okay, is the universe telling me something? Maybe this isn't the route.
Blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise, because, well, one, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have grown my own business, because we look at it in hindsight and say, well, if we were in Canada, we would have had to have got probably like a hospitality job again, worked in hospital, maybe 40 hours a week. We want to spend some time on the slopes, and then what's left for working on our own thing. Whereas we went to Bali and just went in. It was cheap living. We could grow a business there, and sort of, although we were eating into our savings, we were also bringing in like a small amount of money. So so thankful that Bali is such a cheap place, and it's such a great place to go, get away, focus, and just be super productive.
Yeah, you would have been busy doing other stuff.
It wouldn't have happened, would it? Really, like if you think about the amount, like you want to go there for fun because you're traveling, and then you're also working the 40 hours. So normally, if you want to progress your business, you've got to get rid of that fun in that time.
Almost gives
a massive shame.
Yeah, it almost gives you kind of some breathing space. as well, to kind of really think through things, because you're not running from one thing to the next like you would have maybe been in Canada.
Exactly.
Okay, so you ended up in Bali, gave you some breathing space.
Yeah.
You had the time and you had the timeline to kind of focus on your business, grow it, because it was, the cost of living was cheap. You had a change of environment. Can you talk a bit about that? Because I think I'm a big advocate for, if you put yourself in a completely different environment, you have different thoughts, different ideas, 100%. And actually room to kind of, it's like you have a whole different thought process sometimes.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I completely agree. When we first got there, we like I said, we went to travel. So it was never let's go there and although we wanted to start our businesses and go into Bali because we weren't going to be getting a job, we had to. Yeah. There was no direction as to where that I wanted to take that. So we were still going down the whole route of we want it to be passive. We want to enjoy our time here. So started making training programs that were like a monthly subscription, which are still a part of the business, and it is great. But it isn't as fulfilling as helping other people. So I went down that route with it, just having training programs and trying to market it, and didn't know anything about marketing. So when we started going into coffee shops and being in co-working spaces with other people working on their laptops and seeing how possible it was to do something, I was like, okay, right, so yes, I've made a nice training program, I want to do more. We can see that this is possible. What route do I now start with taking this business? And that was when it then transitioned over back to one-to-one coaching. But it is a case of going to a different place, not having any distractions, and then putting yourself in an environment to be surrounded by people that are doing what you want to be doing. And that was great. Really, working just surrounding
remotely.
I mean, it's a dream for everyone, and I don't want to work remotely forever, but until I've scratched the itch of travel, then it works well.
Why not? I mean, when you're young, if you can, you don't have too many responsibilities or commitments, you can, it's great to just get out there in the world and, and have these experiences. So you did a visa run and then you got COVID pretty bad. So you got, it wasn't a 2-day trip. It was basically, you were really sick, weren't you?
I was so sick. Yeah. It wasn't going to be a 2-day. We were like, we'll turn it into a holiday. We'll go see the Philippines. We went to El Nido. Again, was just working in a cafe. And I looked at Jenny and just went, I've got COVID.
Yeah, you can tell.
It was just that feeling. Yeah. It was just a different feeling. Yeah. I was like, it's happened. I need to go home. Yeah. And then wrote a few posts for Instagram, fell asleep, and then woke up the next morning just feeling like death. And it was 2 weeks of being like the most ill I've ever been. I couldn't roll over in bed without being in pain. She was like pleading me to go to the hospital. And I was like, I'm not going. I'm not going to the hospital. I'll be fine.
Yeah. So you pulled through, and then you had to get back into, I guess, because it does knock you fitness a bit, because I can imagine you were probably working out, and you got to walk the walk, haven't you, when you're doing PT and coaching.
I found a nice gym there as well. So I went there once, and then it was the next day that I'd got COVID. But the day that I was like, okay, let's go explore, because Jenny was out exploring anyway on her own. When that day that I got better, it was a stupid idea, but in hindsight, it was good fun and we survived. But we took a kayak, we paid for a kayak to rent for the day, and then just went out to sea. Just went hop in the islands just outside of El Nido. There's lots of small islands and hidden beaches. There's Commando Beach, I think one of them's called. And we just got in this kayak and just went. And I remember we were in the middle of all the islands and it got a bit choppy. And I was like, this was such a stupid idea. I've been lying in bed ill for 2 weeks, hardly eating a thing. And now I'm in the
See the things you get up to.
You get back on your horse, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you had your adventure. You built your business. You had a bit of a setback with COVID.
Yeah.
Fast forward. Back to the UK, you know exactly what you're doing. You've got a purpose.
Yeah.
Strive is the way. You want to build that business.
Yeah.
And you're on a mission to have that, after you've got the travel bug out of your system and, get the business a bit further along to get your own place. But you're not there right now. But you're still from what I understand, you're still working earlies at Marks and Spencer's you mentioned. So getting up at 4 a.m.
That's 4 a.m.
Yeah. So
that probably helps with why I'm getting up at 6.
Yeah. So I just want our listeners to think. So a lot of our listeners, as you know, between 18 and 30, most of them are probably in a regular job. A lot of them probably want to make that transition.
Yeah.
But it's not, but it's not easy, right? You've still got to bust it to grow it, and now. So what's next? So can you talk a bit about your current routine?
Yeah.
Just to kind of, it's not easy for for those folks listening out there. It's you've really got to be focused and committed.
100%. So when we got back to the UK, like I said, we'd spent a load of our savings just like having to live out there. So moved in with my sister. Just helped her, like paid her for like the expenses, so it doesn't cost her a thing for us to live there. Hopefully,
that's nice.
She's
a good sister.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, I'm the chef.
Plug for the sister.
She wants some shares in Strive.
Yeah. What's her name?
Katrina.
Shout
out, Katrina. So yeah, move back in there, and then initially it was get a job so that we can pay her, we can live in England. It's a hell of a lot more expensive than Bali. And then since we've been back, Strive's been growing. And then Marks and Spencer's is now a way for me to pay to live. I can also save a little bit of that somehow. I like doing 4 hours a day. I live quite frugally. And then I can keep all of the money in Strive. And then the more money there is in Strive, then the more I can reinvest it and improve the service that it delivers. So now, after sort of looking at what I wanted the product to be and what I wanted the service to be, because it was just online coaching and I wanted it to stand out from the crowd, and I wanted it to be beneficial to people. So instead of it being like, okay, get on, we'll sort your calories out, we'll do some training, go do it, I'll be here for some accountability. I wanted it to be a journey of, you start at this point, you've got my guidance, you've got my accountability, but I want to teach you along the way, so that if at the end of the 3 months you don't want to continue with coaching, and you can either go to one of the training programs, or you can be like, thank you very much, you've taught me how to be self-sufficient. And then you can then go off on your health and fitness journey, learning everything that you needed to have known.
So it's almost if you could take one gold nugget out of that 90 days. I mean, hopefully, obviously there's going to be a cohort of folks that are going to want to keep going and keep, improving and everything else. But it's quite a nice model where you're, they take that gold nugget, and then you from what I understand, that there is a way that they can kind of just maintain being part of the community. So, obviously there's a bit of an investment for the initial 90-day program, and then they can drop down for a few quid a month or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Just stay engaged with that's really...
So that's the inner circle. So I've got, I sort out everyone's nutrition. So I don't like giving people a nutrition plan. I don't like saying, here you go, like, eat this food.
Yeah.
Because you might not like it. You've got to eat what you want to eat. And if at the end of the day you want to be self-sufficient, you've got to learn what you can eat yourself. So as it's a learning process, I think tracking your calories is very educational. It allows you to understand portion sizes and the energy densities of food. So we always start with that. And then from that, you can then eat what you want. Eat what you're normally eating, but then you'll learn what you can eat a lot of and what you can't eat a lot of. Right. So for example, like vegetables are going to be very calorie, they're not very calorie dense, so you can have a huge volume of them. So if you are feeling hungry all the time, add a load of vegetables. So if you're having like a spaghetti bolognese, for example, just pop a load of vegetables in there so you can increase the volume of your food, and stay fuller for longer. Just like little things like that. Very simple steps. And then the training program, again, I feel that it's super important that you enjoy what you're doing. You want to go to the gym and you want to look forward to it and you want to enjoy the process. So I work with the client and go like, what do you enjoy? Do you like doing this? Do you like doing that? And even if it isn't going to the gym, it's like, oh, I want to play netball, I want to play hockey. Back on. Like if that's your movement, and that's what you want to do, then go do that. The most important thing is that you're active, you're moving your body, and you're looking after yourself. So I am a big advocate of resistance training, but it's not for everyone.
Right.
Okay.
So I'll try and get it in there, but if I don't want to, then that's fine. So
counting your counting your calories is big for you. Do you have any advice on going from a normal lifestyle where you're just not counting anything at all? Obviously, I'm sure after some time you get used to it and you can sort of know how much. Yeah, eyeball it. But for someone getting into that, do you have like any special ways of like making it easier, the process, or even just approaching it? Like, do you have any advice?
So it's a learning curve. It's not much different, because if you're baking, then you weigh everything out anyway. Like, it's what, you know, if you need to make a cake, you can't just tip. Some people might be able to, but I can't. You got to get the quantities right.
Yeah.
So it's just a case of, if you were, say, making porridge for breakfast, what's the difference of your bowl being on the counter or on some scales, and then just jotting it down? It's very small amount of additional work for the benefit of being able to eat whatever you want. So I use MyFitnessPal for clients to track their calories. I only use calories and protein. I just think it's unnecessary at this level to then track carbs and fats. It's just more work that just doesn't need to be done. So you can create a meal on MyFitnessPal.
Okay.
So say most people eat the same thing for dinner every week. You know, they're their go-to meals.
Do they really? Is that true?
Do you not?
No, I know.
Yeah, I
we don't.
realized that.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you?
Same sort of meals every week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you mix it up every week.
Pretty much. I mean, there's a few. Okay, there's a couple of staples.
There we go.
Yeah.
But most of it is. Yeah, it's different. Just because we get bored. We're kind of, my wife and I are foodies.
Yeah.
And we've got 3 teenagers, and so I mean, I've never ever counted calories or weighed anything, and for me it's a big leap. I mean, we talked about this, and because I've got teenagers, and there's certain things that certain sensitivities. It's for me it's how would I do it?
But you're saying it's a bit more of like a it's like a narrative that we have that like we have to count the calories, but actually like when we're baking or whatever, you do it anyway.
What I like about it too, I think for me to get my head around it, it's an education. So when you realize that, holy shit, I'm when it comes to I have porridge in the morning a couple of times a week. It's like actually porridge oats are probably quite calorific, and then I put the bananas and the nuts, but actually just even knowing how much, because sometimes I have a massive bowl and think, how the hell did I make a bowl that big? And then but you can get away with a smaller bowl. So I think knowing what you need,
it's
and then
education.
And like you said, I touched on, once you kind of know after a while, it's like riding a bike, isn't it? You kind of can eyeball it then after a while.
And then when you start dropping the ball on it, and say you made fantastic progress over that 3 months, and then you went on your way, and then like maybe 6 months later you've been eyeballing it, but you're noticing that you're starting to put on a little bit of weight again, you just go back to I'm just going to go back to tracking my calories, just briefly get my portion sizes right again, lose those few pounds that I've gained, and then go back to eyeballing it. So it's not I would never say do it forever, because what I don't think it's obsessive, because you do it with your money. Like, you'd always make sure that you know what's going on with your bank account. So why not do that with the energy that you're putting into your body? But I've lost my trail of thought.
That's good. No.
It's
just good. It's good habits, isn't it? And it's just you kind of get into the you kind of learn through the process. It's a tool.
It's a tool. So I'm not saying it's for everyone, because there's going to be people that it's not for. But it is just a tool, and I think it's the best one. So instead of going, let's cut out all of your carbs, and I can't have bread at the moment. But if you like bread, eat bread. Just learn how much bread you can have, like on the day. And it's just, I think for the first week, it's great just to keep people going, right, eat what you'd normally eat, and then just track it and just see
just photograph it, and
do you
weigh it? You still weigh it? Okay, still weigh it. Okay.
But look at where you might need to pull back. You can identify the areas that you're overeating in.
Yeah.
And because that's all it is if you're gaining too much weight, you are overeating for the amount you move.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just right, that's actually more pasta than I should be having. You wouldn't have known that unless you'd have tracked your calories. If you were going to cut out your carbs, you'd have just removed the pasta. But then how long could you remove pasta for? It's some people love it, and I know people that could eat low carb their whole life. I couldn't.
No, I can.
I
love bread.
So I think it's just finding a way to eat that's sustainable for the rest of your life.
Do you have any nutrition myths you want to debunk, or
I'm not here to piss anyone off.
No, piss off away.
Actually, Katrina said to me before I came, she was like, "Don't get cancelled." So I was like, "Oh, I don't know." So really, I truly believe, and the science backs it, that the foundation is calories in versus calories out. It's how much your body needs, how much you're expending, and how much you're taking in. If you're training, you'd need a little bit more protein, and then you've also got the thermic effect of food. So your body actually requires more calories to consume and digest the protein than it does with any other macronutrient.
Okay.
So increasing having a higher protein is beneficial for many different things. And your body needs protein to build everything, like your skin, your nails, like your muscle, you're recovering from your muscles, everything. It's so vital that you're getting enough protein. So the reason I don't use carbs and fats is because people aren't trying to get absolutely shredded. They just want to, the people that I'm helping just want to feel confident, drop a few pounds, feel good in their bikinis, and their swim shorts, and just live a healthier, happier life. If they were trying to get on stage, then yes, we'll look at everything and truly optimize the process. But that's not what. They're not the people that I'm helping. So just that calories in versus calories out, making sure that you're consuming the right amount for your goal, having a good protein intake, and that's about it. So there are benefits to lots of these diets, like going low carb if you're pre-diabetic is probably a good idea, but we're not talking about that. If the goal is weight management, the most vital thing and the only thing that is important is being in a calorie deficit if you're trying to lose that weight, whether you stop eating your carbs, whether you cut out your fats, whether you fast, or whether you just track calories, whatever tool you use. Well, the end result is that you're putting yourself in a calorie deficit.
I like the way that you kind of look at each individual as, their lifestyle, what they enjoy, what activities they enjoy as far as, being active and moving their body, and not being too prescriptive on that. The educational element, I think, is interesting as far as calories in, calories out. I mean, we live in quite a fair world in a way. It's like, it makes sense, and there is that learning curve. It's funny because if I think about my motivations for exercising, for me, it's just having energy and being strong. But I've kind of neglected to kind of figure out, what I'm eating and stuff. And, I think I'm intrigued to know, actually just becoming aware and educating myself on that. I think that could be really beneficial 100%. Because, I work hard in the gym, and I've got some pretty good habits. So it's almost like getting good habits is part of the, it's like, you're kind of 80% there. It's just now fine tuning it. You also, so you mentioned about the therma thing. Was it
the thermic effect
of foods. So different foods take more, different energies being digested. And you mentioned protein. It's, it takes a lot of energy to digest that. You also talked when we met the other day for coffee, as far as your resting state or your lifestyle, as far as when you're in the office, ways that you can actually start moving your body. And I, we had that idea. It's like maybe I should make an hour of phone calls just walking. Why do I have to sit and make my phone calls in my desk? 100%. And actually, every individual is going to have a different activities. And can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think that was quite interesting.
So what I started with in that conversation was what your metabolic rate is. What it's made up of. So you've got your basal metabolic rate at the bottom. It's about 70% of your total daily calorie needs. So if you were just to lay in bed all day and not move a muscle, that's how many calories your body would require. And then on top of that, you've got total daily energy expenditure, which is what we're now talking about. So that's any movement that's not purposeful exercise. That makes up, I believe, about 10 to 15%. And then you've got exercise activity thermogenesis, which is purposeful exercise, or EAT is what we call it. It's about 5%.
That's crazy.
5%, yeah.
5%. I mean, that was, I thought it'd be more, but
on average.
Yeah. Okay.
So obviously a marathon runner is going to be way above that, but your everyday person that's going to the gym 3 times a week for an hour,
it's only 5%.
It's really not making up that much if you think about it in the 24 hours of the day. So you look at training more as a way to increase your energy, get stronger, get fitter, feel good about yourself, and do something positive for your body, more so than, oh, I ate a cake today, I need to go on the treadmill for 2 hours to burn it off. Because we've all heard people go, oh my God, like, I've had a Mars bar today, and that's going to be like an hour on the treadmill.
Well, you see them. I mean, I've seen these. I've met these individuals.
Yeah. So
and
just get that
so
narrative.
prescriptive. I know it's not healthy, really.
No, it's really not. And then thermic effect of food at the top. It's about 10%.
That's really
so that's what makes up your basal metabolic rate. So if we're looking at putting yourself in a calorie deficit, or how would we then increase our metabolism, I guess is what people would say. Your basal metabolic rate can only be increased by there being more of you, so gaining muscle. That's going to take a long period of time, so we'll cross that one out. Like, that's not something that we can work on. We could improve the amount of time that you spend in the gym. Like I said, like a marathon runner or something, you could just do an hour and a half instead of an hour. But we're busy people, and although like I love fitness and it's my life, I don't want to spend all day training. Like, there's other things that I want to be spending that time doing. So we'll cross that one off. Like, you could do it, like, if you want to do it that way, then let's do it that way. Thermic effect of food, you've got your protein goal. That's already set kind of high, so that's crossed off too. That just leaves us with total daily energy expenditure, which is how much you move outside of the gym. Got 8 hours sleeping, got an hour in the gym. I'm not going to be able to do the maths off the top of my head. You've got the rest of the day of moving around. So I use a step goal just because it's a very easy way of tracking the amount that people move. There's nothing special about it. There's no special number. People say get your 10,000 steps in. That's not a magical number. It's just a
number,
reasonable number to aim towards. It's just like, if everyone walks about 10,000 steps, they'll probably be moving enough. But I have clients on at the moment that their target's 5 to 8 because they were moving 1 to 2,000 steps a day. So 10,000 would be ludicrous. Yeah, really unachievable.
So it's really simple, but it's almost like you're kind of an accountability coach too. You've got these different this framework that it sounds very doable. So is there anyone that you think we should interview? Anyone that's inspired you on your entrepreneurial journey so far? Any authors or just any individuals?
If you can get him on it, you'd have nailed it. But Alex Hormozi is my number one. Like, no one has transformed the way that I look at business and the way that I would build my business quite like Alex Hormozi has.
I think that's a good one.
Unbelievable.
Going for the look as well.
I am going for the look.
Is there any?
Change this to a tank top.
So on the Alex Hormozi subject, is there one piece of advice that has stood out to you?
Or I don't know, everything that comes out of his mouth is gold, I think.
Or at least for Strive specifically.
Yeah.
For Strive, it's more been the mentality of it being a numbers game with marketing. So although it helped me create the business model, like going into everything that he's putting out there, that really helped me see how to create something of true value.
Right.
But the biggest thing has been like how to market like that. I had no idea about how to market a business until I'd listened to Alex Hormozi.
Okay.
So it's all very simple marketing. So it's cold outreach, warm outreach, one to many. So you've got content on Instagram could be like one to many, like a cold DM or a cold phone call is 1 to 1, and then an ad is cold 1 to many, and then warm outreach would be speaking to someone that you know. Which is a good place to start for a young entrepreneur because you've got the rapport with those people, and you just like, I mean, what the thing that I loved the most about it was, although I was going in there like, I'm growing my own business, I want people to know about it. I was reconnecting with people that I hadn't spoken to in years.
So the whole process was actually fun.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
It was so nice just to reconnect with people and then be like, let's go for a coffee and actually reconnect with people. But it's also, the answer is how he's looked at marketing as a numbers game. So, and it is just simple marketing. If it takes you 200 people to speak to generate 5 leads and then 1 to convert, you know that you need, if you want 2 clients, you need to speak to 400 people.
Right.
And just looking at it as a numbers thing was the biggest thing.
Start with the end in mind, then but and it takes time to figure out what that ratio is. Yeah. But once you know it, exactly. You know exactly what you need to do and build that into your daily
and then
habits.
Yeah, exactly. And then like I'm big on referrals. I think referrals are the best way to maintain. Like I don't want to spend the rest of my life having to sift through a load of people to message a load of and contact a load of people to see if they are interested in how I can help them.
Yeah.
So once people are through the door, then I've got referral schemes that then allow my clients to then also give value to the people they want, because it's
put them to work.
It's not it's not a horrible sale. Like I'm trying to help you. Like and I want you to know about it. And if you don't know about it, then
you wouldn't know.
Then you won't know.
Exactly.
So if you don't care, then cool. Like ignore me.
Speaking of that and marketing and everything, who's your ideal client?
So my ideal client is someone who has like a brief understanding of what they need to do, but they're struggling. It's all a big whirl of information, and they can't pick out what is the right thing to listen to. And it is the world of health and fitness is confusing. I do like working with females. I have male clients as well, but I do find that I work better with females. I always have throughout my 8-9 years of training. A lot of my clients have been female, between the ages of like 20 to 40, but then again I have clients that are slightly older than that. But I find the female body very interesting, like with the hormones that we don't have to deal with. It makes it complicates things.
What is something you can share?
Well, the menstrual cycle for starters. So it's getting a lot better now, and a lot more women are understanding their body and their menstrual cycle. But I remember I was at a party maybe like 2 months ago, and we sat on a rooftop in London and talking to like 5 girls who had no idea about the phases of their cycle, what effects that has on their body, what the hormones are that change, and then how that would affect their training, but also their body weight.
And nutrition as well.
So when during PMS, so like as lads would know it as like the period. Their body requires between 200 and 300 additional calories.
Okay.
So I give my clients a calorie range, and then like the women out there will know that they're craving these sweet things and they want to eat more during that time. Like there you go. It's in your calorie range. Like your body needs that additional calories. It's why you're craving it.
I've never heard that.
Knock yourself out. Go eat.
There you go.
But most women overeat by 500 calories a day during PMS, when their body actually needs 300.
So they still need to be controlled. It's just being intentional, basically.
Just
being aware of what's going on and just aware of what they're, and you can help them with that. That's very, very interesting.
Again, with why it comes back to me really liking calorie counting as a tool is they crave sweeter things then. And when you're on a diet, you can't have chocolate. You know, you can't have these things, but when you calorie count, you can, as long as it's in your total daily calories. You can have that chocolate.
It's a good message because it shows that all food is good food. It's just you just need to be mindful about is it dense calories or is it light?
Yeah, exactly.
I know we're kind of coming to the end of our time right now. Is there any kind of parting wisdom? So for all those listeners out there that are either looking to make that move, to kind of discover their true purpose, or whether they're looking to embark on their fitness journey, is there anything that you want to tell them, or any advice, any parting wisdom?
I think just do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? And at each step in my life, when there's been a scary thing, I've always gone like, what's the worst that can happen? Ask yourself that question. What is the worst thing that can happen?
Are you going to die?
But whatever it is, that's what it comes back to. So when it was moving to Bournemouth, like, what's the worst that can happen? I'll just come back with my tail between my legs and start over again. Push and strive. What's the worst thing that can happen? I end up still in this position. That's the worst thing that can happen. Is I've got a goal, and you've got a goal, whatever it is. You want to reach that goal. The worst thing that can happen is that you spend the rest of your life knowing that you could have tried to push it, but your fear of failure is the reason that you didn't go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think about myself as an 80-year-old man sitting in my chair,
Yeah.
grandkids running around. If he's happy with me right now, then
That's good.
I've done my thing. Yeah. So what's the worst that can happen?
Very good. And actually, I think it's quite exciting interviewing you at this part in your journey because you're still in the transition. You know what you want to build. Yeah. You're excited about it. You're adding a lot of value to the world with through your work. What's, you know, and it would be great to follow up with you in 3 to 5 years time. Yeah. So what's going to happen if you can kind of tell us what's going to happen in the next 5 years.
Okay.
Where are you going to be in 5 years? And then we'll follow up with you.
Yeah. So we want to get the travel bug out of our system, however long that is. But let's just say we'll set it as a 5-year goal of, well, my end goal is to be somewhere where there's good surf, but in England. So at the moment, that's Cornwall. I want to have a Strive HQ, a nice gym.
Nice.
There'll be personal trainers in there. We'll have classes, but on top of it being just a space where you go and you train. There'll be your nutrition will be looked after. It'll be the service that I give as online coaching, but with one-to-one PT included. A coffee shop attached to it.
Nice.
I love coffee. I'm a big foodie. Got my caffeine. So yeah, good coffee, good food, and a place where people can use it as a co-working space. They can just have a workout, come in for a coffee, have some good food, and just build this little community of go-getters that are looking after their health, they're looking after their wealth. And then just have little things like on a Saturday, 6 a.m. surf club,
Nice.
You don't have to come, come down. We're going to be down there at 6 a.m. on a Saturday. Like come down and surf.
You can have your surf van. You can have your surf van.
I'll have my van, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's coming up soon, to be fair.
That is a great vision. So how do people find you?
Probably Instagram is the best one. So it's Edwards _, so KIZ Edwards with an underscore at the end. That's probably the best place to find me.
And Strive?
Strive. So that's what I use for Strive's marketing as well, but strivefunctionalfitness.com.
Cool. Perfect.
Fantastic. Well, it's been a pleasure having you here. I love the energy. I love it's just simple, sensible advice. And you've got a framework and a structure there to help people achieve what, their goals.
Yeah.
And Rocket Pod would love to support you on your journey. We're always looking for, we support each other because we're building our own community of entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and podpreneurs and all the rest of it. So,
yeah. And if you want to get fit and you don't know what to do and you've got 3 months to spare and you live in Cornwall in about 5 years, then hit up Kieran.
You can live anywhere.
There you go.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Thank you.
Better chaps.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode of Rocket Pod. We hope you had fun listening in and hopefully you've learned some valuable new tips. I, for one, didn't know that exercise constitutes only about 5% of your basal metabolic rate, so definitely food for thought there. No pun intended. Guys, please connect with Kieran through the links in the description and look out for that very special 15% Rocket Pod discount code to kickstart your fat loss journey. Take care, all the best, and we'll see you in the next one.